one friendly fire from Santo Domingo to Nueva York. You're supposed to curse in the first 7 seconds, by the way, but it's all good.
I'm sorry.
His favorite perspective. His favorite perspective, so expect it and accept it. And I'm here with your guy, Flee. All we live. Please promote yourself. I'm on the spot, so I don't even know how to promote you right now. I'm sorry.
Yo, man, I'm with my brother. You know, y'all know how I enjoy being with this good brother. He always got a good bucket on. Check out his bucket.
On,
always got a good bucket on. Flee, CO, back at it again, y'all. Check me out on Instagram, allwelive_Flee. Some of the best basketball conversations you're gonna find out there. Period. Whatever your favorite podcast is, whatever your favorite platform is, I'm one of your favorites. Go check it out. I got some of the best conversations with some of the best hoopers all over. I'm a New York City guy, but all over. The list is long, y'all. Go check it out.
Listen, man, I like that. That's that New York talk.
You heard?
That's that New York talk, right?
Yes.
But today, I listen. I sent something for my guy Flee. Shout out to Joy D'Angela. She's been on fire
Shout out
lately.
to Joy D'Angela, by the way.
What the hell? On ESPN? That's crazy.
Yo, Faith, she's doing some amazing work right now. She was just with Dr. J, an amazing conversation. If y'all didn't see that, go check that out. Then she's sitting down with another legend in Rick Barry. She's sitting down with legends. She's sitting down with champions. She's sitting down with Hall of Famers. Shout out to Joy D'Angela, man, for real.
The only thing that was missing from that, to be honest with you, I mean, nothing was missing because I think you could tell her personality, her like, especially that her, you know, her like, I won't say a celebrity personality, but her like her public persona. It seems like I don't know her personal, but I owe her. She could get anything from me because of the way she just reaches out and she just handles her business. But the fact that she was talking to Dr. J and Rick Barry, for me personally, selfishly, the only thing that was missing was Dime Dropper. Because he's such a fan of back in those days that it's like he would have went crazy.
Man, for real.
He would have went crazy. But for me personally, Dr. J, to me, I don't know if I ever told you this, he's the most influential person in basketball history. He's like how we talked about it before, Ice Cube and Rakim. He's all that combined, in my opinion. The NBA, the basketball it's everything is different without him. There's no money. So speaking to Dr. J would have been like, yo, I got to show you the respect and the credit that you deserve, bro, because this is not Michael Jordan who, Allen Iverson who, Kareem who, Magic who. That's all. Even Kareem was in there before you, but they both would have went bankrupt without him. That picture when he's at Rucker Park, nah.
Iconic.
That's the most, to me, most iconic picture in basketball history.
Let me tell you something. I've never told you this, but as you know, my dad, shout out to Leroy Adams. That's my love him to death. But listen, that's my guy. I go to him for basketball, all that conversation. Like we are like junkies with this stuff. And he's been watching the game for a very long time. And his favorite player, guy he grew up watching, favorite player is Dr. J, Julius Erving, right? That's the guy that he was pumping when I was a youngster. That's the guy that was really the guy when I was coming up. Not for me, but the guy that my pops was putting in front of me. And, you know, to see Joy sit down and have a real candid conversation with him was really dope. Like,
hell yeah. Dr. J, you know, OJ Simpson is polarizing at this point. And Muhammad Ali was polarizing even back then. But those are the three sports stars. You know, you could throw in Bruce Jenner. A couple of guys back then. But those, to me, they ushered in, you know, what the era of the modern athlete, how you get commercialized, how you sell sneakers, how you sell yourself. And Dr. J in basketball is, yeah. he's like none other. But that ain't what Flea wants to talk about, man. That ain't
Because
what
these
Flea
old
wants
niggas
to
is
get into.
bugging. These old niggas is bugging. I love them to death. Legends, Hall of Famers. These old niggas is bugging.
So let's introduce that. Joy D'Angela doing her thing. She's on fire.
On fire.
She spoke to Rick Barry, NBA legend, by the way, all-time great.
Hold on. Let's
And here's what Rick Barry had to say.
Set the
Here's what
table on this.
Here's what Rick Barry had to say about Jaylen Brown and his new max contract.
I mean, you look at some of the contracts they have, even, like Brown, $306 million. I mean, that's just hard for me to believe. I mean, you know what his average in the playoffs for them is 18.5 points a game. I mean, 18.5 points a game, and he's going to make $69 million in the last year of his contract.
That's a lot of money, Rick.
But 18.5 points a game that's nothing. Seriously, to pay somebody that kind of money, and he's a nice player. I really like him, but man, he's got to improve his game. He turns the ball over too much. He tries to force things, and so is his teammate Tatum. That's one of the reasons they lost to the Warriors 2 seasons ago. They make too many turnovers. In the game of basketball, you must say, there's a saying, keep it simple, stupid. Okay? Keep it as simple as possible. You take what the defense gives you. A play is only designed so everybody knows where they are, and if the ideal thing happens, you know where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to do if certain things happen. But if other things happen, you change. You do it. You go the other way. You, again, take what the defense gives you.
Flee, my brother. What did you feel when you heard this? What did you think when you heard this? How did you react when you heard this and saw this?
Here's the thing. Hearing that again right now, right? Hearing that in its entirety right now. The bulk of what Rick Barry said, right, to end off that question and that excerpt and conversation, right, was spot on. Everything he said to end that was spot on. Keeping the game simple, taking what the defense gives you, that's a part of being great, right? But my issue with Rick Barry is it's hate, and understand why I say it's hate. It's not like he's just hating, and what I mean by that is Rick Barry is more responsible. Right, this is a legend. We talking about a legend. We're talking about a Hall of Famer. We're talking about an NBA champion. We're talking about somebody that understands the business of basketball. He wants to talk about Jaylen Brown, 18.5 points a game in the playoffs. It's very ironic that Rick Barry has that stat in his pocket ready to go when talking about the $306 million that Jaylen Brown just signed for. It's very ironic. Now, who's to say? I don't know. Rick Barry may study the game with these young players to where he knows that. I'm not going to take that from him. But it is very, very ironic. So what I'm saying is to say that or imply that he doesn't deserve that money when, on the other hand, you understand the business of basketball. The market has been set by this new CBA. You understand that the TV deals are coming in. You understand the influx of money that the NBA is a global brand. They are just pumping money into this league. And the dollar is just raising. But it is not, guys are being emotional about this. And I think that's really where it's coming from with Rick Barry. He could have very well explained the other side of it on why Jaylen Brown is getting that kind of money. Second best player on the team. NBA teams have to spend a certain amount of money. Who's going to get the max dollars? The 2 best players. So we got, there's more context to just saying he's only averaging 18 points a game in the playoffs and he shouldn't be getting $306 million for the next 5 years, $60-something million per year. I don't think that's completely fair to just jump out there and say that. So that's my issue, because it's Rick Barry, him knowing the business of basketball, him being close enough to the NBA. He's an ambassador to the game. He knows. I just thought it was irresponsible not to speak on the other side of it.
And also, it's Rick Barry who went from the NBA to the ABA. Like Rick Barry knows from the ABA to the NBA.
Yep.
So he has like because Rick Barry is like an eccentric dude. He's been wild. He's been known for like saying racist stuff.
Rick Barry was
quasi
banned from
racist.
the league 1 year.
I know he was live on a broadcast with Bill Russell, and he made like a comment like about monkeying around or something like that. Oh, watermelon grin. Boom.
That's a legend.
And Rick, who do you think that guy is there? I don't know. It looks like some fool over there with that big watermelon grin on the left. All right. Who is that guy? That's you, Bill. Don't you recognize that picture? Nope. There's another one. Who's that guy with that funny looking hat on? That's it's Olympic.
So they were basically, he was on the air with Bill Russell.
I ain't like his tone just then.
I don't think he's racist. Me personally.
I don't think he is either.
Even if he was, I think he's more just on the edge about stuff, just as a person. Like he's a no filter kind of dude. So I can appreciate him saying all this. Like you said, he went from ABA to NBA. He has something to prove. He has a chip on his shoulder. He plays like it. He still talks like it. Joy in the same interview, there's another clip where she's asking him about, the plumber comment. And he goes, "Oh, plumbers, I would have played in this era. You give me what they have." And a lot of the arguments from the kids now is, well, that's the reason why we are better. And it's like the argument that I make. Well, the rules changed and medicine changed. A lot of things changed to allow you the opportunities to be the athletic perimeter player that you are today. The freedom to do what you do today. Rick Barry would have destroyed this era.
That's true.
He's the kind of guy shooting underhanded free throws. You talk about doing what it takes to win.
That was a choice.
Okay, but Shaq didn't do it. Shaq, again, there's certain things that shameless individual. I always point to the fact that he had like a wig, a mullet wig. He took a team photo with a mullet wig. Nowadays, people have shoe shine and stuff on their head, and LeBron wears a weave out there. LeBron is rocking the weave now, but Rick Barry started this game back in the day.
Don't be irresponsible to the fans. LeBron is not rocking.
He got bangs. What are you talking about? He got a weave, bro. Your man got. Listen. Whatever his doctor is, I'm about to call him. These bucket hats ain't for a reason,
bro.
No reason. Listen, I just feel like he's a no nonsense guy. Remember when JJ Redick spoke out of turn and he touched that third rail? Jerry West said, "How did you impact the game? Who are you? Like, you can't sit at this table." Rick Barry once again is putting people on notice. People from that era. I love to see old school people. I don't care what era you're from. You can sense the competitiveness. Yo, dog, you average 18 and a half. Talking about. I would have been busting your ass back in the day. I would have been busting your ass today. That's who I am. I'm Rick Barry. And that's what I got from that. Did he go over line? Oh, did he overstep his boundaries? Yes, because he's supposed to. I mean, he didn't do it before he got paid. You understand? He did it after he got paid. So I'm okay with that. If he would have did it before he got paid, that would have been on the level of Carmelo Anthony and Jeremy Lin. But Carmelo hated on Jeremy Lin. You can't do that.
Oh
you
my God! No! Don't do that. Don't do that. No.
What are we doing? What are we not doing?
We're not gonna paint this narrative that Carmelo Anthony hated on Jeremy Lin. Jeremy Lin got a bag. Jeremy Lin got a bag. He just didn't get it back from the Knicks, and I'm so damn glad we didn't give it to him.
That's fine. But they hated on him because if he was a black kid, they wouldn't have done that. Point is, if Rick Barry would have made that comment before my man got the money, Jaylen Brown got the money, it would have been more hate in my book. But that's the way I look at it. Like, he's competitive, bro. And I don't care what era it is, what language you speak. Akeem Olajuwon, I don't care what these people will, I don't care what country you're from. You can hear don't play with me. You better watch what you say to me because I'm one of those dudes.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Rick Barry is again, it's Larry Bird, Jerry West. We never mention Rick Barry. He is rarely mentioned, and he might be the best white dude of the 70s.
But he's right there, though. He's right there.
He strode. Matter of fact, he had a game 7 like Kobe had a game 7 versus the Suns where he passed the rock up when he was on Golden State in the championship, if I'm not mistaken. Barry's a crazy individual. So I understand what you're saying, especially when he's not. How are you not going to explain the other side to that where Jaylen Brown is the second best player? We touched on this earlier. Part of the reason why Boston has to offer him that money is because that's the leverage that they do have as a team.
They have that's what they can afford to pay him.
And you can't let him go. The same reason why Bane from Memphis got a max contract. It's like, what are they supposed to do? Wait for the max contract free agent summer and wait for another. No, they can't do that. They can't just break the team up. They got rid of Dylan Brooks, who they thought was non-complimentary at this point, but Bane, in their eyes, I would think he's a major piece to the Grizzlies.
You know what? You know what this branches off to? You know what this really branches off to this conversation? What do people really want? Now, hear me out. Hear me out, brother. What do people really want? We get upset with these players that bounce around from team to team and chase the chip and chase the super team and chase playing with talent. But then we get mad when these homegrown kids, these homegrown guys, get the money that they've earned and worked for. Jaylen Brown is a homegrown guy that was drafted by Boston, and now he's getting vitriol from people. Well, and then if he left, that would be a problem too, right? Like, so what do we really want? Desmond Bane, right? Is Desmond Bane the second best player on that Grizzlies team? I do not think so. I think he's the third best player. I think it's Ja Morant, then I think it's Jaren Jackson Jr., then I think it's Desmond Bane. But does that mean that Desmond Bane didn't earn the max, the money that he earned, the money that he's getting paid? No. And he's a homegrown guy. They drafted this kid. So if he left and took money somewhere else, we'd be talking about, damn, Desmond Bane left for some money. And, my man Simon, shout out to Simon, he always says, all money ain't good money. We always go back to Jonathan Simmons. I don't know if everybody remembers Jonathan Simmons. Jonathan Simmons had a breakout year in San Antonio, wound up taking the money in Orlando, and they were terrible. He was just on a bad team, but making a lot of money, right? So what I'm saying is, I don't think we can get completely all bent out of fucking shape when these teams reward their homegrown guys, the guys that they drafted. Jaylen Brown has been he earned that. So that's the other side of it too. Because guess what? If Jaylen Brown left and took some money somewhere else, maybe not us, because we are native New York, we love the Knicks, but somebody in that, Celtic lore, them Celtic fans would feel a way like, damn, we're losing Jaylen Brown. What did we have to do to retain him? Oh, that's all we had to pay him? I don't know, man. I don't know.
No, that's a great point. What we talking about? That's the Rick Barry. That is the ultimate counterpunch, because we can't keep complaining about your era where everybody stayed up until the LeBron era, basically, and KG and Boston and them, where they decided They're going to do the players decide super teams. Back in those days, everyone stayed on the same team up until 15 years ago, 13 years ago. This is a part of the new wave. This is a part of the retro, the throwback. They're bringing back the home with your homegrown Larry Bird rights. We want you to stay on this team. And that's been Bane's same thing, because that's what I always told Don. How am I supposed to root for this? Like, that's my thing with the Knicks. We're competitive, bro. I don't know if I love to hate Julius Randle. I'm not there yet. I'm not there with RJ Barrett either. But Jalen Brunson, I can root for this. Even while we're losing. I understand everybody wants to win championships. Guess what? 29 teams are not going to win championships every season. What can you root for? Are you okay with this? We've gone 20 seasons of like, nah, this ain't okay. Even when Melo here, it's like, nah, this is not right.
Right.
So with Boston doing that, and then
what's the alternative, Fabian? To not make the playoffs. This kid has helped this team to multiple Eastern Conference Finals. This kid has played in an NBA Finals. This dude has made multiple All-Star teams. This dude has been an All-NBA performer. And we're questioning the guy that has been a part of the growth, right? Been through a couple different coaches already now too, right? Got drafted with Brad Stevens, came in, and then Udoka took over. They got Udoka out there. Now we transition to Mazzulla. He's been a part of this. He's adjusted. They drafted him, then they drafted Tatum right after, right? So, and all he's done is get better. If you look at Jaylen Brown in the last 4 seasons, right, all his stats has gone up, from points per game to shooting percentage from the field to 3-point percentage to free throw percentage, like all his shooting splits. How do you not reward a guy like that? How do you have a problem with rewarding a guy like that?
Because like you said, the alternative would be what, a sign and trade for who? For what? Like, you want Boston to explore this, and then, like you said, you just took the words out of my mouth, with multiple conference finals, which everyone sneezes at, with different coaches, with a coach that he doesn't really want. He wanted his old coach. They had Kyrie there. I don't want to deep dive into Kyrie.
Multiple lead guards. They had Kyrie at one time. They had Isaiah Thomas at one time. Remember that, right? Multiple league guards. Marcus Smart. Knock on wood.
And then you, but you're switching all the leadership. So all these things matter. So that talent is seeping through. Now that the more I'm talking to you, the more we got to go, wait a minute, what the hell's going on in Boston? Because to be honest, but we're forgetting the second half of last season, the 21-22 season, when they made it to the chip, they were the best team in the league. That defense is the best. Yeah, Golden State was up there defensively because they were neck and neck defensively, but they did not have that. They were hounds.
From January on, Boston was nothing to fuck with. From January on, they was ready to go. They were locked in defensively. Jason Tatum was a first-team All-NBA performer. Jaylen Brown was the best Robin you could find, or the second best player. You know what I'm saying? He was that type of guy. They were clicking on all cylinders. They were shooting the ball well from the perimeter. They were deep. They went 6, 7, 8 deep. Right, like, so they played. They were, and they were well coached with Udoka. So, I'm not mad at Rick Barry for expectations and setting a standard and saying, "Hey, you averaged 26 a game in the regular season, but only averaged 18.5 in the playoffs. That's a problem. Hey, you turn the ball over a lot. You and Tatum. That was the problem in the NBA Finals. That's a fact. They turned that shit over. They could have very well, been in that series. They could have very well almost won that series had they not turned the ball over so much. But you're talking about young guys that are still developing, still understanding the game. They're blossoming into superstars in this game. Jason Tatum has become a superstar level player now. So I wouldn't expect Tatum to be as careless with the basketball going forward in the rest of his career. I would expect Jaylen Brown for who he is as a player, knowing that he's continuously getting better. I would expect him to hear all the noises going on. You can't go left. You can't dribble with your left. You turning the ball over a lot. You haven't upped your level of play in the playoffs. He's the type of player that I expect to come back next season and shut everybody up. Last thing I'm going to say about this contract. He had a press conference after getting this contract, $306 million contract. They asked him. Now, let me before I get into this, Jaylen Brown is a very intelligent dude. Dude went to the University of Cal, very intelligent dude. Really understands the business of basketball, right? Aside from just on the court stuff, right? If you go and dive into who he is off the court, he's a smart dude. Why I bring that up is he was one that talked about the racial issues in Boston. He talked about how it is tough playing in Boston and visiting teams coming to Boston. Just the climate in Boston, period, on a racial tip. He had a press conference when he signed that contract. They asked him, "What are you going to do with that $306 million?" He said he's going to build up Boston. He's going to give back to Boston, to the Black community in Boston. You can pull this up. This is what came out of his mouth when they asked him about what he was doing with that $306 million. So, again, that's not a reason to just say that's a reason for him to deserve the money. But I'm just saying, again, this guy's character, who this dude is, says a lot about why he got that $306 million.
I think you hit everything on the nose. Then the last point, barely everyone really speaks on that. I think LeBron gets a lot of credit. He gets a lot of credit for what I know. Recently, they are criticizing his school, the kids not passing math or whatever it is. New York City schools are down crazy. So like people got to like, who has the real solution for any of this? These are athletes at the end of the day. They're not supposed to be the ones resolving our societal issues, our economical problems.
But they're doing the best that they can with the resources that they have.
Right. I think that's what it is. Like Jaylen Brown balancing out the signing of that contract, which is massive, because I think he even knew, like you said, very calculated, very smart to be in that press conference and balance out the shock. Because no matter what, $300 million is $300 million. So the shock of it, here's I'm gonna lessen the blow to the public. Now you really can't argue with this if I'm telling you what I'm doing. Whether it's I'm saying he's a kind of Machiavellian, or it's kind of, I don't want to say he's sneaky. It's strategic, man. And it's how like I always say, all these rappers that brag about their jewelry and don't brag about like where they're donating to. Why not? Why not make that cool? Why not make that? Why not make that the new chain? So Jaylen Brown doing that is amazing. And again, why wouldn't you continue this for the next 5 or 6 years if you could guarantee it with these two guys? They already worked all the kinks out by getting rid of Kyrie Irving and everybody else, whoever it is, and they got their guys. Now you probably know Horford's not going to be here 5 years from now, but you know for a fact they have been in 4 conference finals. We say that about Jimmy Butler, like, okay, is he a superstar or not? But he's a playoff super performer. Well, these two guys, what do you call them?
They have you right there, and it's not like it's a situation where they doing it to just keep butts in the seats. This is the Boston Celtics. This is a top tier franchise that's always expected excellence, right? So they're not doing, they're not keeping these two kids and these two guys, excuse me, and keeping a roster around them and just trying to make, win 50 games, make the playoffs, and keep the fan base at bay. No, it's championship level expectations there. So if y'all think that what Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and the rest of that organization isn't shooting for a championship, you bugging the fuck out. Like, they're ready.
Really?
They're right there. It's not like they're going to be right there again this season.
And I think that's the issue. That's why I think you took issue with Rick Barry. Like, I can have the same fervor, like competitive spirit Rick Barry does, but we can balance it out with this side of it. Maybe the rest of Joy's interview, he's gonna be saying some great things about Jaylen Brown, but I doubt they're gonna get back. Spend this much time on Jaylen Brown, and that's part of the problem. That's the excerpt we hear, is that you basically nitpick that, but you never mentioned the 4 conference finals. Like, you just didn't mention that. You failed to mention that. And I just talked about how I can root for Jalen Brunson and playoff expectations for the next couple years now. They're rooting. If you're a Boston Celtics fan, you can root for this talent and expect championships, like you're saying. There ain't no better scenario than that. Neither one of them are Steph Curry. Neither one of them are Kevin Durant, LeBron. They're not the upper. They're neither. Tatum is fringe top 5. He's always in and out everybody's top 5. Yet Rick Barry didn't mention him for the max contract or their failures in the last couple of years in these 4 conference finals appearances. I can see both sides, but I totally see why you can be upset with somebody or like a peer of theirs, speaking that way. That was crazy, and those were all great points.
There's a reason why he's getting that, and it's not just merely because he's a good basketball player. I think when you're looking at him in totality, right? Why did guys come down so hard on Ja Morant? Because he just got a max contract and he has to uphold a certain a certain image for what he's bringing and representing the NBA. So, he just got a contract. You know what I'm saying? And so that expectation for Jaylen Brown is almost like, without being said, because of the guy that he is. Like, they're comfortable to give him $306 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, aside from just being a really, really good basketball player, one of the best basketball players in the league, he's also a hell of a person, so it goes hand in hand for what they're doing over there. I mean, they got to get over the mountaintop. They've been to the conference finals. They've been to the finals. It's time. They're not kids no more. They're not. But I think Brown deserved the money, and whatever Tatum gets, he's gonna deserve it too.
You got everything off your chest, Flee?
I'm good to go. I'm good to go. I just needed this time with the great Fabian perspective to respond to the older generation.
Okay, I like that. All We Live Flee at All We Live Flee on Instagram.
Check me out.
YouTube. Fabian Perspective. It's All Ball TV. Friendly Fire. Till next time.
Peace.